This is extremely good news for Penguins fans as the NHL entry draft has just wrapped up, and we're going to break down how the Pittsburgh Penguins managed to get multiple hidden gems and diamonds in the rough in this draft, and one move in particular that allowed them to do that will have Penguins fans fired up. We're going to break it all down in this episode of Penguins Digest, but before we do that, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 68% of you who watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel. So if you're watching this right now, go down below, hit that free subscribe button because this is the place to be for all your daily Pittsburgh Penguins content. But Mark, the NHL entry draft, the 2025 NHL draft has now officially wrapped up, and a couple moves were made from the Pittsburgh Penguins in terms of drafting players and of course a trade. And some of the moves a lot of fans are not too happy about, but we're going to break down exactly who they drafted and why some of these moves Penguins fans should be absolutely ecstatic about. Now, of course, with their first round pick, because if everyone, forgot for some reason over the last 2 days, they had 3 of them in the first round. Ben Kindle. And Ben Kindle is a very good player, high octane scoring, one of the best scorers in this draft, at least from major junior hockey in the CHL. And he is one of the, and this is from Hunter, he's one of the most underrated prospects in the draft, in his opinion. I don't think they take him this early, especially with Eklund there. A lot of teams passed on Victor Eklund as well, which I think is interesting. But he has great speed, a really good release, and he's a super smart player. And Wes Clark was talking about that. We'll get into that in a second as well, in terms of that he's a very smart player. He can anticipate plays, but he's also really good at winning the one-on-one battles. Now, he's not the biggest player, and that's why people are not exactly ecstatic about drafting him, but they should be. This is a very good player at the end of the day who will probably make an impact at the NHL level, and the hardest thing to do in the NHL is score goals, and that's what this guy is good at. So he has his comparable, as you can see down there from Chell Penguins right now, is Braden Point, which is not bad. Braden Point is not the biggest player, but he's scored 50 goals in this league before. He's won a Stanley Cup. So Mark, to backtrack a little bit to their first pick in this year's draft, a lot of people were dumping, maybe not necessarily on him, but the draft pick itself. How do you feel about this draft pick?
I think he's going to be an incredible player in the NHL. I think he's going to come into this league and be very productive. If you get a Braden Point out of him, Dubas is going to look like a genius. But I do kind of worry. Listen, you had back-to-back picks. Yep. Eklund was on this board. You had so many options, and they kind of took a reach. If you took Victor Eklund, then you traded the other pick, moved down a bit, and still got Kindle, this would make more sense. But it really felt like Dubas went in, and it wasn't so much of the best player available. He just had a list of guys, and if they were there, he was taking them regardless. It's like doing a fantasy league. You go to your favorite team. Sidney Crosby's there. You're taking him first overall. But it does feel like Dubas kind of fumbled a tiny bit, but I really hope Kindle can come in and kind of shock everyone and make us feel kind of like idiots once he really turns into something incredible.
Absolutely. And there are 2 other first-round picks were very good as well. We'll touch on those a little bit later because we know what we're getting into with those. But there was one trade, and I'm actually very excited for one player in particular, and Penguins fans should be as well because the story is absolutely insane. So we know that Kyle Dubas turned a 5th-round pick into a Connor Dewar, Connor Clifton, and a second-rounder, essentially. And that second-rounder turned into Peyton Kettles, of course, in the Connor Timmins trade that happened yesterday, and the Penguins acquired Connor Clifton. And I had a video on that. Go check that out because I think it's actually a very smart move. They can then move Connor Clifton if they want at the trade deadline, so it actually worked out very nicely. But if you look at Peyton Kettles, doesn't put up the most points in the WHL where he's playing with the Swift Current Broncos right now, but this guy is a unicorn. I mean, I was blown away after doing some research about this guy, and you can see it summed up here in this tweet from Jesse. He didn't like Kettles in this spot as much as some other players that were still available, but get this, he's playing an average of 25 minutes a night as a 17-year-old, which is completely unheard of. I don't know if it's ever been done. Maybe only Seth Jones was doing it, who is a very similar player to Kettles in terms of stature and size at this age. So he's doing that. And that's basically like seeing a Sasquatch. As you can see here, he's a unicorn of a player. He plays in every single situation. He plays on the power play, he plays on the penalty kill, 5-on-5, of course. But on the power play, he actually plays as a forward, which is unheard of at this point. So this guy's a bit of a unicorn, Mark. I actually think this draft pick is very good. They made a sneaky good deal there to get Clifton and Peyton Kettles. How do you feel about this draft pick? Because again, this is a guy who can do everything. He's doing it at the junior level, of course. So will that translate to the NHL? I mean, maybe. He's only 17, lots of room to grow still, and he's a big right shot defenseman.
I mean, with Kettles, when you're looking at a lot of these defensemen that have came in and either played forward or came in as a forward to play defense, you have Dustin Byfuglien when he came in with Chicago. We've seen a very good career with the Winnipeg Jets. We've seen Brent Burns come in as a defenseman and start playing right wing with Joe Thornton and Pavelski, Marlowe, whoever it was. I think there is a lot of upside. And I do like this kid, a big defenseman that can not only play defense, but shows that he has offensive skill, playing in front of the net, going on the power play as a forward. This is a unicorn, and I think there is a lot of upside. This is someone that I really want to see break into the league, just to see how teams really use him coming into the NHL.
Absolutely. He's, again, I'm going to use it for the third and the last time. He is a unicorn. He's a pretty crazy player, and you can see here from Elite Prospects, when Swift Current needed to close out a game, Kettles didn't leave the ice. There's also reports that he would stay on the ice for like minutes at a time instead of, going on and off, taking shifts and stuff like that. He would just stay on for the last like 4 minutes of a game with immense defensive range, a physical edge, and nuanced shutdown game. It's easy to see why. A defensive stalwart with room to grow, he routinely shuts down the opposition's best. Now, keep that in mind. It is junior hockey, but if he's shutting down the opposition's best, these are older players, probably 19-year-olds who have been drafted to the NHL, or guys who are overagers who dominate the league, and he's only 17 years old, and he's playing in every situation, shutting down the best competition. I mean, it just makes sense. There's also some feel-good stories here. Another draft pick of the Pittsburgh Penguins. He had, a lot of family in the area. Now he's a Pittsburgh Penguin. It's a pretty good, cool story. Go check it out if you miss that. The Penguins also selected another defenseman in this draft with a 91st overall pick, Brady Pettles, and a goaltender in this draft, which I think Penguins fans have been screaming, Mark, for goaltending the last little while. So they drafted Gabriel, and he has a quote-unquote from Elite Prospects strong pedigree and history, and he controls rebounds very well. And you can see there a quote as well on defenseman Brady Pettles, a good mover who angles rushers to the outside, protects the middle at all costs, and kills plays efficiently. So, he's going to be a pretty good defenseman as well, and could be another diamond in the rough that late in the draft. But what do you think about them taking a goaltender? Obviously, he's going to be a long ways away, but they take one of the stronger goaltenders in this draft.
I mean, goalies is definitely something this Penguins team needs. You need a goaltender that can stop the first shot on net. But the big thing is a lot of these picks, especially the goaltenders, not going to join the organization for 3, 4, 5 years. The goaltender could go as far as 6 or 7. But I think Dubas is doing a good job. Listen, you win out and you might have not got the best available at the position, but he did a lot of moves where it's adding more talent. If you're going to draft 15 players, it wasn't 15, but it really felt like it. If you're drafting 15 players, one of these guys have to hit. If you're only drafting 4 or 5, there's a chance you don't get anyone. I mean, Neil Yakupov went first overall. We've seen how that went. He was best available coming in. I do want to say Dubas did a good job. He kind of filled the void of big defensemen, big forwards, skilled forwards, and adding goaltenders. Overall, listen, we might be mad, but I do like all these picks. And Darius, I don't know if you feel the same way, but for what he worked with, the direction he's going in, I think he did a decent job with this draft.
I think it's okay to feel like, yes, they passed on some better players, because that might honestly be true, right? But some of them, like Ben Kindle, they're probably going to be great NHLers and score a lot of goals in the league, and that's going to be fine. And they also drafted a bunch of guys to insulate, that talent as well. And you can see here from Wes Clark, and he's talking about obviously Ben Kindle as well. An extreme characteristic of him is his intelligence and the fact that, he's a very high IQ player and that he can read plays and stop plays as well. He just knows where the play is going to be and is able to get there. And obviously they drafted Bill Zonin as well, and he has a high work rate, highly competitive, and a lot of people are projecting him to be like a middle six forward, maybe a third liner, and that's okay, because if he's really good at that and he's hard to play against, then the Penguins will be better for it. And this is the type of insulation you want for talent like a Bill Kindle when he does, eventually make the NHL. So I think there were some smart moves here, some sneaky good moves, like making that trade to get Kettles as well. But let us know how you feel in the comments about this year's draft. I know a lot of Penguins fans thought there was a lot left to be desired with some of the players that they passed up on, but I think overall it was a pretty good draft, and you'll probably see some of these guys in the NHL. Maybe not next year, maybe not the year after that, but as they continue to develop, they'll probably be difference-making players in what they do in their skill set in the NHL in a couple of years. But let us know how you feel, and if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything Pittsburgh Penguins.